I'm Carolyn Sunitha, and I am an assistant vice president in a corporate company in Hyderabad. And I also am a teacher. I love teaching at the Sunday school. Actually is, very intriguing that today is a day that I am recording, and exactly this day 5 years ago, I was in the hospital for my surgery. And so I still recollect it. Many would want to forget it, but for me, I think remembering, what had happened and where I am today is a story that I would love to share, because I know that there are many who will, from this story, be able to see things very differently. So I went for this routine annual health checkup, and after the checkup, the doctor said, well, there was something that he thought was not so good. And there I was sitting in the doctor's room, and hoping not to hear the C word. But then he comes in and he confirms that I have been diagnosed with cancer. Thankfully, not in an advanced stage. I was, very devastated, and there were a lot of questions that came, through my mind, and why me? And I am not a candidate for this, because nobody in the family really had cancer at that time. And then, I also had actually went back home, and then I kind of, wrestled through a lot of fears. I wrestled through a lot of tears by myself, trying to, figure all this out. And to see, and this is my reality, and this is what has been told to me. So it was very difficult accepting it. There were people who sympathized. There were people who came and stood by me. I got a lot of support. But yes, there were a range of emotions that came. But through all of it, I was very, very encouraged and very supported. Both at the organization, at family, church, friends, so many of them. But then I was never drowned in the sympathy that was provided. I know I was down, but I knew that I was not going to remain there. I'm going to come out and overcome this challenge. When you go through these challenges, if you have to take it, by yourself, and you have to face it, alone, it becomes very difficult. But it was so heartening to know that people understood my pain. People understood where I was, and that kind of sympathy was so encouraging that I knew that I had so many people by my side. And I think even if you ask any cancer doctor, they would say for a cancer patient, to overcome, he needs to fight it both with the mind, he or she, and the body. So for the mental strength, I had all of these people, and I think that was my strength. Otherwise, I think I would have failed miserably, and this fight would not have been victorious. So there were times that I was consumed by my pain, and I was like, is there even any hope? What would happen? And I had all three boys who were just in school yet. And I was wondering, if I will even come out of it. But one thing that I have learned through this experience is that I may have fallen, I may have felt like, giving up, but I never remained there. I again charged myself and the word of God, and there were some pretty, songs that were like sermons of encouragement for me. People who came and shared, all of that brought me out. So I never stayed for more than a day in that situation. But yes, I went back to those hopeless situations when I thought, is there a hope? Will I even see the end of it? But God also gave me a promise during that time, 1 Peter 5:10, and He's a promise keeper. And I see even today is a fulfillment of that promise, where He said He would restore all that was lost. He would strengthen and establish me, and I can vouch for the fact that He stood by me during these times. So what follows in the treatments are, after post-surgery, you have these chemo cycles, and they come with their terrible side effects. I had pretty good hair, and that's precious for any woman. It's the crown of glory that you have. But then when I lost my hair, it was tough. I looked ugly. As it is, I had all kinds of problems, with the side effects of the chemo. So when I saw those, all of those lovely stresses falling down. I was wondering, will I even get it back? But then, as I said, that was one of those days when I felt terribly, about my situation. But then that didn't keep me, because there's a thing that I want to say. While that may be a crown, all that you go through, these scars, they're beautiful. They remind you of a story. All the scars that are caused and all that you may have lost, they remind you of a story. And I don't think, I told myself there's nothing to be ashamed. In fact, I went back to work right after my, last cycle of the chemo with my chemo cap. I attended a lot of, a lot of places I went with my hair that was, in that condition. But then there was nobody who ever said, hey, you look, yeah, I knew how I looked, but there was everybody who encouraged me and said, you look nice in the chemo cap, or I love your hairstyle, because I never had it that short. So I didn't think that kept me there for too long. Yes, maybe a couple of days. It felt terrible to have lost your hair, and it didn't grow till about, I think, 6 months post that. But I did life, as I would have with that hair. Just being there, silently listening through their groans and what they're going through is a big help. And then I think majorly not everybody wants to hear advice from somebody who's not gone through it. But if you have gone through it, I think you should share. You know what, I have seen this, so after this phase, this is what follows, this is how it helped me. Those kind of things would help. But from somebody who has not gone through it, but offering you suggestions, I think will further make that person, more discouraged. I would never have had this, this surge of faith, if it was not for this experience. For example, if I said, he is my healer, it takes an experience to say. It's not a head knowledge to read and say, when it says in the Word of God, I am the God that healeth thee. But it takes an experience, for you to know that, okay, this is my healer. I could see God, in different facets, reveal Himself to me. He's a God of hope. He taught me through this. It's not that God changed, but it's like those Venetian blinds, the moment you open more of it, you can see more of the outside. And that's how I could see more of God. Not that I became any, bigger, or I became any better, but I could see my vision of Him expanded. I could see Him, in different, He was my provider. I must tell you, so beautifully the expenses were provided. As I said, I had 2 kids, one just off 10th and one in 12th, off to pursue another career, and I had these huge bills. But I must tell you, I really experienced Him as a provider. So faith came to me in experiencing God in different facets, of my life, especially at this time. So first few days, probably, as I said, I had these questions, why me? And God, I still have, 3 youngsters, and what is it that, why is this even a test? But then it all made sense. Even during the, treatment, I knew that God had a purpose. Scars like this are not meant to hide. I think it is to tell your story with pride. To tell somebody there, because it's a hurting world outside. And many would not come forward. And I thought God kept telling me, you know what, even post the healing after my second review, he kept telling me that, I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to be vulnerable, because in your story, there would be many who would be encouraged. And I thought, God, if that is the purpose. Initially, I was wondering why, but I got the why of it. And I knew that these experiences came through for me only because otherwise, many people would not know that they're still loved. Many people would not know that, God still cares for them. And these experiences that come through, these trials or these challenges that come through, it's not to destroy you, but it is only to, give you strength. And it is not a physical, ability when I say strength, but it is that indomitable courage that comes from within. And I think that courage story, even so far, when people ask me, I think I have seen many who have said that, Akka or Auntie, I have been encouraged, otherwise I would have been down. So if it is helping one other person like that, then I know that you know, this story is worth it, that God sent me through it. And I have never cringed in my faith or ever thought that why question has not there now. I'm not still looking to fill the gaps with the why. I know for sure, and I'm using it. Yeah, one is, I think, don't be in denial, accept it. Because if God has given you your experience, whatever it be, He will stand by you. He will stand by you. I know of some, you know, some very close to me who succumbed because they couldn't accept what was happening. And I know how miserable life can be, but just accept it. Because if He has given you this experience, trust me, He will also give you the strength, because it is not His intention to destroy, but He wants to give you abundant life. And there is a purpose, you know, that you would know God better through these circumstances. So accept it. And second is, I am not saying it will all be well once you accept it. There will be times, as I just mentioned, when you will feel terrible, you will feel lonely, you will, you know, really wish you know, for all of this to come to an end, and you know, you will probably feel, is there even any hope? But in those situations, do not remain there for long. You have to rise up. If you don't rise up, you can get sucked. So I want you to, you know, I am available if you want to talk to me, or there could be many. Reach out to somebody who can help you, who can give you that hand and pull you up, but don't remain there, is what I would say. Reach out to somebody, and never think that you know, this is shame, or this is something that I have to be shy about, or this is something that I want to hide, because it is only in these stories that you know, you build another. And personally, I think I gain strength in it, and these scars are beautiful. There is a song that I keep repeating and saying, it's Steve Curtis Chapman. He says, beautiful scars, beautiful scars. And for me, these beautiful scars are beautiful reminders of my story, of my journey this far, and of who I am and who I am in Him. I hope, yeah, it is a story that will encourage you.